Tonight's global brief: clear, concise, and ahead of the curve. From markets to climate and tech, we scan reliable sources so you don't have to. Your world, briefing ready.
Hello and welcome to World News. I'm Eve, your anchor in our global newsroom. In the next minutes, we'll bring you verified headlines from geopolitics, business, and technology, with clear context and concise takeaways. You'll learn what happened, why it matters, and what to watch next, without noise or speculation. Stay with us as we start at the desk with today's top stories, then zoom in on the trends shaping tomorrow. Let's begin.
Today, we're diving into a really personal battle inside the larger war in Ukraine. It's all about children, their families, and a rescue operation from Russian-occupied territories that carries incredibly high stakes.
Just think about this for a second. Put yourself in these shoes. It's an impossible choice, right? Go along with an order to change your school, maybe even your identity, or risk being taken away from your parents.
Well, for two young sisters in an occupied part of Ukraine, this wasn't some hypothetical question. According to reports, this was the exact choice Russian-installed authorities put in front of them. They were told to comply, or they could be removed from their mother's care. It's a choice that really sets the stage for the stories of defiance we're about to get into.
So what do you do when you're faced with that kind of pressure? Well, these aren't just statistics we're talking about. They're individual stories of some pretty incredible courage.
And it turns out the story of those two sisters, well, it wasn't an isolated case. We also learned about a teenage boy who made the exact same stand, refusing to enroll in a Russian school, no matter the consequences.
And you know, this pressure, it went way beyond just education. In another case, a family's basic freedom to move was tied directly to their loyalties. A child and her mother were reportedly told they couldn't leave an occupied area. And the reason? Because a relative was serving in the Ukrainian military. It just shows you the complex web of control these families are trying to navigate.
But in the middle of all these really difficult situations, a recent event offers a real glimmer of hope. So let's take a look at the journey that brought some of these kids back home.
23, that's the number. 23 children and teenagers who were just recently brought out of Russian-occupied areas and back into territory controlled by Kyiv. Now, it might sound like a small number, but for those 23 families, that's everything.
Now, this rescue didn't just happen randomly. It was part of a coordinated effort. The program's called Bring Kids Back UA, and it was started by Ukraine's president for this exact reason, to bring children back home from Russia or Russian-occupied areas. So, the key thing to get here is that this is an official, ongoing initiative.
So, the rescue of 23 children is obviously significant news, but to really understand why it matters so much, we kind of have to zoom out and look at the massive scale of child displacement in this conflict.
The official figure from the Ukrainian government is, well, it's just staggering. They allege that more than 19,500 children have been illegally deported or forcibly displaced.
And look, this isn't just a statistic they're throwing out there. It is a formal accusation. Ukraine says these actions are a war crime, a direct violation of international law under the Geneva Conventions.
But believe it or not, that number might actually be on the low side. A U.S.-funded research report, this one from Yale School of Public Health, suggests the number could be much, much higher, possibly closer to 35,000.
You know, this really highlights how incredibly difficult it is to get a precise count in the fog of war, where it's hard to get access and information is always contested. But whether the number is closer to Ukraine's figure or the Yale estimate, the main point is the same. The scale of displacement is just immense.
So, as you can probably guess, with allegations this serious, you're going to have two completely different explanations for what's going on.
So, on one side, you have Ukraine, alleging the illegal deportation and forced displacement of its children. And on the other, you have Russia, which denies this completely. They claim their actions are actually humanitarian efforts, all about protecting children from the fighting. These are two totally conflicting interpretations of the exact same events.
Okay, so we've got the personal stories, the huge numbers, the conflicting claims. What should we take away from this latest rescue? What's the bottom line here?
All right, here's what it all boils down to. This recent rescue is a big deal, a significant victory, but it's also a small step in a much, much larger crisis. Thousands of kids are still displaced, and with both countries telling completely opposite stories, finding a solution is incredibly hard. This really means that efforts like Bring Kids Back UA are more critical than ever because this fight is nowhere near over.
And all of this leads us to one final, really big question. When things like schools, citizenship, and even family ties are being used as tools in a war, it brings up a fundamental issue that goes way beyond this one story. In a time of conflict, who is ultimately responsible for protecting a child's identity? It's a heavy question, and it's one that really remains at the very heart of this ongoing crisis.
That's your briefing from World News. I'm Eve. Before we go, a quick recap. Key decisions in policy and markets, signals from tech and security, and the human angles behind the numbers. For more depth and verified updates, follow my channel World News Eve and enable notifications. We'll be back soon at this desk with clear facts and practical context you can use. Until then, stay informed and stay kind. Like my video, leave your comments, and help me bring news to everyone. From me to all of us, be happy.